Alright, so we have another addition to the Hasbro Marvel Legends Retro Carded Spider-Man line of figures. This is the Lizard, part of the 60th anniversary, the Beyond Amazing Spider-Man set of figures that they've been releasing this year in honor of the anniversary, of course. And this is a Walmart exclusive, retailing for $29.97 to be exact, plus tax. And if you have free shipping, then free shipping. But if you don't have the Walmart Plus, then I think they do charge for shipping unless you go over a certain amount. I don't know what it is, but yes, that's what you're going to be looking at for this figure. I'm actually excited for this figure. Price wise, we're going to figure out if that's worth it or not, but right now I'm actually really excited to get my hands on this figure. So there he is through the window packaging. On the front side, we get the sticker right here. On the back side, we actually do get a read-up just like all the other figures from this wave of retro carded figures. And there's the read-up in multiple languages, and if you want to read it, then you can pause the video right here. Alright, so right off the bat, I already feel like I'm getting my money's worth here. For 30 bucks, we're getting a brand new body mold. We're getting amazing paint and shading, and we're getting accessories, which are new as well to this release. So some of those accessories include these beakers, and this is technically the first time they've been released. We've seen them again because we saw them with the new Blue Beast coming out that Dan Hu reviewed, and that one was the first figure that repurposed these beakers, but we're just now getting them. Technically, Lizard is the first one to release with these beakers, so expect these to be used more often, which is fine. Something I remember him noting is that there's peg holes on the top of the beakers there where you can fit in or peg in some of the smoke effects on previous releases that were previously meant for guns. But if you want to put a little smoke effect on the tip of the speaker, you can, and that gives off a nice little cool effect. But we got a yellow one, we got a red one there. Pretty dope. I like these a lot. More of those, it's always welcomed. On top of that, we do get a bendy wire tail. This adds into the value, in my opinion. This is what we want. Thank you, Hasbro. This is definitely what we want here. We've been wanting bendy wire tails for the longest time, and here it is. So we get the bendy wire tail, we get the beakers. We also do get two head sculpts. So we got the one right now on the figure, which we'll take a closer look later on. But we also do get the one with the tongue out. Of course, it's a lizard without his tongue out. So here it is, looking hella dope. Very nice. You can see all the shading there. The tongue is not posable. It is fine. We don't need that to be posable. The jaw is not posable either. That would have been nice, but yeah, no posable jaw. And then we also do get two sets of hands. So we get the open hands on the figure right now, wide open actually, on each side. And then we get a fist for the right hand and then an open hand for the left hand. That's to grab the beakers, of course. So on the backside, his lab coat actually has space here for the tail, and then the peg is actually on his behind, so the peg hole's on the tail. This should hopefully just snap right in. So there you go, just a twist and push. So you'll be able to rotate it like this. Of course, the lab coat's going to get in the way though. So you're going to mainly want to just pose it from the middle and then work your way out so you can, bend it this way, bend it that way, bend it up, whatever. There's a bendy wire in there, so amazing, amazing. It took so long for us to get this. Hopefully, this is here to stay, and hopefully, we'll see this implemented with like Doc Ock and other characters as well that could benefit from this bendy wire. I mean, it's nothing revolutionary, but it's definitely a step forward for Hasbro Marvel Legends. So here's a closer look at the base head sculpt that comes packaged in. This is teethless, and the tongue is inside here. And he's kind of like I don't know, he's kind of scared or shocked. It's kind of a funny expression, but at some angles it'll look better. This is a very classic look here. So when you put on the other head sculpt, this one's different. So you see the eyes, how this is more cartoony, more kid friendly, I guess. And then this one's a little bit more scary. This thing looks like a T-Rex or a raptor. So you get the yellow eyes here, you get the teeth, got the tongue there. So I love the two looks, two very different looks packaged into this one release here, so I like that. And here is the alternate head sculpt attached, and that looks fantastic. You can definitely pick and choose which style or which design you prefer. Going down to the arms, you get the pinless elbows, you get the pinless knees. So that's super nice. Ripped pants there. just check out the shading is all throughout the figure, so that's super dope. Like a black wash is all throughout, which is something that Hasbro doesn't do often, and it's impressive that it's on this figure. So I really appreciate the shading on this. You see it on the hands. You see all the texture too. Check out the texture on the hand, and you can see all the reptilian scales down to the feet as well. Awesome. And then they put the serial numbers on the bottom of the feet now, so that's also another plus. Of course, you saw the shading or the black wash on the tail, as well as the head and neck. Everywhere you see green scales, you're going to get the shading. So super dope and very happy about that. The head sits on a ball jointed hinge, so he does look up. He does look down quite a bit. The neck is also separately articulated. The head also swivels left and right. You can get some nice head tilts. I mean, this thing is as articulated as can be. The arms will go all the way up and down. They go in and out, pretty far out. And then we do get the bicep swivel. We get the double jointed elbows. Swivel at the wrist with a hinge at the wrist. Both hands have regular hinges. It does seem like there could be a forearm swivel there, but there is not. So just a swivel at the wrist. Torso has dual articulation. We got the diaphragm joint and the lower ab crunch combo, which we normally see on Spider-Man. So that's pretty nice that we're seeing it on this guy. Uh, we all know that Lizard likes to get down on the floor, so this is going to help with that. Get the swivel at the diaphragm joint and then the ab crunch at the lower abdominal area. No waist swivel, but you get the swivel at the torso there. Legs will kick forward about this far. They go back down. They go in and out about that far. There is a thigh swivel, double jointed pinless knees, of course. And then we get the shin swivel, very well hidden here within the pant leg. Perfect spot for that. I mean, that's awesome. Then we get the ankle hinge, and then we get the ankle rocker at the foot there. So that's all the articulation. And looking at this figure up close, I noticed there is no discoloration issues lately with a few of the Spider-Mans that have released, such as the Iron Spider, as well as the Peter Parker from the Ned 2-pack had like kneecaps that were not colored perfectly. You know, it didn't match up, but this one has no issue. Everything matches up on this figure, so that's good to see. And there's a quick look at him with a beaker in hand there, so of course the grabby hand can grab that on perfectly. I'm just using his open right hand to just kind of like grasp the bottom of it. I kind of wish there was two grabby hands because he does have two beakers. Now you're gonna have to choose one over the other to put in his hand, but I mean, you could probably get away with maybe balancing this thing on this open palm hand. It's just a rough, real quick showing of that. So here's a quick side by side next to the Lizard Build-A-Figure, and this one is more realistic. Of course, it's more of a live action type of look. Of course, the retro vintage one is based off of like the animated series or a comic book panel. So this is why it's very drastically different. I mean, I could already hear you guys or some of you guys saying how ugly the retro vintage one looks next to this guy now that they're side by side. But of course, because one looks more realistic and one is clearly based off of an animation. So I dig the classic animation look here. I love both of these because they're just, you know, very different designs, very different versions of the Lizard. But yeah, the Build-A-Figure Lizard is definitely a great figure. He's literally the centerpiece of my villains detox shelf space of Spidey villains that I have displayed. So yeah, this Build-A-Figure isn't going anywhere in my collection, but it's very nice to have this retro vintage version as well. Just to get an idea of his height, the retro vintage Lizard stands about 6¼ inches tall, so right under 6.5 inches tall. And of course, our Build-A-Figure is bending his leg, so he's probably closer to 7 inches. All right, and I swapped out his head sculpt for his open mouth, and this looks a little bit more similar to our Build-A-Figure here. And you can see here, definitely this head sculpt is probably the one more people are going to lean towards too. But they both look great in my eyes, for sure. But here is a little bit more of an even competition between the two. Again, I don't feel like this is a either pick one or over the other. Maybe if you're just trying to decide on one of them, and since this is the one that's available now, you might lean towards the new one. But these are two very different designs, so I feel like you should, if you're a comic book fan, then you should be getting both. But that's just me. And here I have them next to the Rhino, the most recent one from the Retro Vintage line as well. And these go very well together. Of course, these are both based off of the same line, based off of the same Spider-Man series, so they look wonderful. I love this Rhino. It's a nice update, and once you get all these villains from the retro card line together, it's gonna look extra nice. And here are some of those villains. So we have Hammerhead on the left side there, then we have Shocker, and then on the right side we have Green Goblin, and then Hobgoblin. So all these are from the retro vintage Spider-Man series, all based off of the the Spider-Man the animated series. Very bright colors, very cartoonish, very comic bookish. So these will all look very, very good together, as you see them right here. So I'm gonna decide to keep it all in the family of the retro vintage line. So I'm gonna use this retro vintage Spidey to compare next to Lizard, and you can see how well they look next to each other, as well as I'll throw in Gwen Stacy slash MJ, kinda, because she did come with two heads. But there's a look at these two next to the Lizard. Lizard does stand taller by a little bit over Spidey, and definitely taller than Gwen Stacy. And call me crazy, but even though we've gotten an upgraded version already of Spider-Man with that Spinneret 2-pack, I still really like this Spider-Man. I'm really fond of the colors on this guy. It's just so nice. And then lastly, I'll throw in Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four, literally just to compare the two lab coats there, in case you guys wanted to see, two lab coated figures side by side. Alright, and that's going to wrap things up on this review of the Hasbro Spider-Man Retro Vintage Line Lizard Walmart exclusive figure. All I'll say is that for these higher prices, this is what I'm expecting. This is what we want right here. We are getting a brand new body mold, we're getting brand new accessories, we're getting alternate heads too, and alternate hand swaps here. And a bendy wire tail, we getting black wash, shading, sculpting details all over the figure. This is a Marvel legend. This is what I'm talking about. This is one of the best releases this year, and I'm hoping to see more like this. This reminds me of the 20th anniversary releases of Legends. Those figures were shaded. Those figures had black wash and awesome paint jobs on them. So all that care and detail should be in every single Marvel Legend. I don't know, that's just me. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. While you're down there, hit the like button, would really appreciate it, and also consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. As always, everyone, take care, take it easy, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.